Hey, good morning. I'm Brian Manning. I'm an asylum lawyer, and I'm here to answer your questions about asylum in the United States. We're going to talk about Donald Trump's day one immigration crackdown. I'm going to give you an overview of the things that were announced yesterday, January 20th, when Trump was inaugurated. His first day back in office. There's a lot of movement on immigration that I want to tell you about. But then I'm going to answer your questions about winning asylum in the United States. I'm Brian Manning, and my law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers. We're based in Texas, but look, we help people all over the country. So it doesn't matter where you're located, anywhere in the country. We help people all over the country. Say hello. Let me see where you're watching from. Where are you joining us from today? Hit me up in the comments. Say hello. Let me know where you're joining us from today. All right, we got Mo Abdu. Thanks for joining. Over on TikTok. We're on TikTok. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. By the way, guys, on TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn, if you want to see all of my best stuff, go to YouTube. Go to YouTube and search Political Asylum Lawyers. That's the name of my YouTube channel. And that's where I've got videos, long videos, lots of detailed videos, including some really very detailed long form asylum tutorials, like real trainings that are really long and detailed, stuff that you need to know about if you want to give yourself the best possible chance of winning your asylum case. All right. Say hello. Let's see who we got. Good afternoon, says Anil Pudel on TikTok. Good afternoon. Good morning, depending on where you are. I'm in Texas where it's 11:08 a.m. And I want to know what questions you've got about winning asylum in the United States. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. All right. Let me tell you. Let's get started by letting me tell you about what happened yesterday. So for months, Trump has been promising a flurry of announcements and a major crackdown on immigration starting on day one. All right. And he did not disappoint in that sense, meaning he's following through on his promises. So I'm going to tell you about 6 things that Trump announced, or Trump's people announced yesterday, about new changes to immigration policy that the new Trump administration is going to be carrying out. All right. So first of all, he declared a national emergency at the southern border and directed military involvement in immigration enforcement. So he's ordering the Defense Department to, quote, seal the borders and, quote, repel forms of invasion. They love using this word, invasion. Now, this included disbanding a task force that had been working to reunite separated families. Basically, the idea with this one is Trump is trying to make a show of force to show that they're getting serious and cracking down on the border. And by declaring an emergency, they're going to be able to probably redirect funds to be able to finish the border wall, among other things. And like I said, they're talking about using our military to help with this securing of the border, which is probably illegal. There's going to be lawsuits over this. And pretty much everything that I tell you on this list of 6 things today, there's going to be lawsuits over, because a lot of it is probably clearly illegal for the president to do. All right. So the second thing is the announcement about shutting down the CBP One app. So you know that there's this app that has allowed people to seek asylum at the southern border through setting up an appointment on their phone on an application called the CBP One application. And if you do that, you set up an appointment, you come and you sort of enter the United States to go through the process of seeking asylum, then you can actually possibly still win your case, as opposed to if you come without making an appointment through CBP One, then there's a rule that says it's going to be almost impossible to win asylum. Well, this was the Biden administration's way of trying to have sort of an orderly process for having people come in to seek asylum, and Trump ended it. It stopped working yesterday. People can't schedule new appointments, and there were 30,000 people with existing appointments that were canceled. All right. And there's something like 270,000 migrants waiting in Mexico that can no longer schedule appointments through CBP One. All right. Number 3, Trump is saying he's going to end birthright citizenship by directing federal agencies to stop issuing citizenship documents to U.S.-born children if their parents are undocumented or if they're here on a temporary visa. Now, this one is clearly illegal because the U.S. Constitution says who is a citizen. It includes almost anyone born in the United States, including people born to undocumented parents in the United States. So this one is going to get overturned by the courts. Even these Trump-friendly judges are going to agree that this is not legal, and eventually it will get overturned. But for a while, it's sowing chaos And people, if you apply right now for your child to get a passport through the State Department, if you apply for that and your child was born here and you and neither of the parents had U.S. citizenship or lawful permanent residence, then that application is going to get denied unless and until a court overturns this or at least stops the policy, puts an injunction on it. All right. All right. That was number 3. Number 4 is Trump announced the reinstatement of Remain in Mexico, this policy where asylum seekers have to wait in Mexico while their cases are processed in U.S. courts. Now, listen, this requires Mexico's cooperation, which their Minister of Foreign Affairs has said they're not going to give. So it's unclear whether they're in practice, they'll be able to re-implement this policy, Remain in Mexico. All right. Okay. Number 5, Trump has ended the CHNV program that allowed up to 30,000 migrants monthly from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to fly directly to the United States and enter on parole. The idea that the Biden administration had with this was, look, these are the countries from which a whole lot of people have been coming recently to the southern border. So instead of having them come to the southern border where they either try to cross illegally and it's dangerous and bad for everyone, or coming and just like showing up and asking for asylum sort of unannounced and unprepared, it's better to handle this process orderly and actually be able to vet them ahead of time, to do security checks ahead of time, and then have them come in an orderly way on an airplane and enter the United States. So basically, they're going to come anyway, is the idea. Why not make this process sort of orderly and get control of it? And by the way, they had to pay their own way for those flights. The U.S. government did not pay for them to fly here. Well, Trump is ending this program called the CHNV parole program. It's gone. Now, finally, number 6, Trump announced there has been announced that large-scale immigration raids across the country are going to start soon, with ICE planning these operations in multiple cities. And Trump's people have indicated they're going to start in Chicago, where 100 to 200 officers will be deployed for at least a week-long operation. Now, some of us expected that this would really start in earnest yesterday on day 1, on January 20th. But it didn't. The mass raids haven't started yet, but they almost certainly will in a few days. So we're probably going to be seeing news in the coming days of ICE going out and looking for people that have a final order of deportation, immigrants that have committed crimes, but also just like workplace raids where they just go to an employer that has a bunch of migrants or immigrants working there and looking for people who are undocumented. All right. Those are things that we have to look forward to. So yeah, those are 6 things that are in the works from day 1 of Trump's presidential tenure, the second go around. So that's what we're up against. Wanted to give you an update. It was a tough first day in that sense. We've got a lot of uncertainty ahead of us about what else is going to follow. But thankfully, there are committed immigration lawyers and other advocates who are going to be fighting this stuff every step of the way. I'm going to continue to give my clients, and just not even my clients, but also the broader immigrant community, all the resources that I can give to help people understand their rights and most importantly, to help them secure their future in America through asylum. Because listen, the asylum system is still intact. All right. Thankfully, to date, I have not seen anyone from Trump's team say that they're going to just try to do away with asylum. Like, they shouldn't be able to do that legally, but they could try, and they might make some headway in doing that. But I haven't heard them say that. That's the good news. All right. In fact, Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, has actually affirmatively said, look, if we pick someone up and they are afraid of being harmed in their country and they request asylum, we're going to let them explain their case. We're going to let them go through the process. So that's good. Listen, it's going to be harder to win. Approval rates are going to go down. There's going to be both policies, concrete policies, and a general anti-immigrant sentiment and atmosphere, both in court and at the asylum office, that is going to lead to a higher refusal rate. That is, I am highly confident in saying that. So you got to do better than ever. Now it's more important than ever to present a really strong asylum case, all right? To do the best possible job in setting yourself up for success with your written materials, with your application, as well as your supporting documents. Supporting documents, what do I mean? A declaration, evidence, and a legal brief that does, from your asylum lawyer, that does a legal analysis and cites to and incorporates relevant country conditions information. That's supporting documents. But then also in your preparation for your asylum interview, you got to do You got to make serious efforts. You need to do a full-scale mock interview, a full-scale practice interview, and then a follow-up debrief session to get feedback and tips. These are the kinds of things that you need to do. It's now more important than ever to get the best possible help for your asylum case, to give yourself the best chance to win, because we're up against difficult odds against the Trump administration. All right. Let us turn to the questions. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Before we do that, don't lose hope. Don't give up. People are going to keep winning asylum. We helped people win asylum last time during Trump's term, and we're going to do it again this time. All right. Don't give up. Keep fighting. Keep the faith, and just be ready to work hard to put together a great asylum case. All right. Who we got? Where are they? We got Kumba Matia saying good morning. We got on YouTube, we got Shams Arif. Good morning. Good morning. Itian Joe, Bertrand says, hello, Brian. Watching from Arizona. Nice. Kadiri says, hello. Kevin Hemmings says, good morning from South Carolina. Nice. Good morning, Kevin. We got David saying, hello. Nature Hill Hub says, good morning, Mr. Brian. Hello. Easy Recipes giving a handshake. Hello. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you. We got Sanket Kumar Patel watching from Virginia. Thanks for joining us from Virginia. I like Virginia. I love Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is one of my favorite cities in the world. I love it up there. I spent a fair amount of time there when I was a diplomat. We got Kadiri over in Cameroon. Nice. We have quite a few clients from Cameroon. We know those cases well. We've had a lot of success with those. The Stunning asks a question. I'm going to get back to your question after I say hello to folks. HUD says, Brian, hello, Brian, watching from Seattle. Good to see you. We got Kumba in Philadelphia. Kasim is unhappy. Kasim says, my ex is a fraud, but lawyers like you helped her. Now I'm going to expose you all. Expose what exactly, Kasim? Expose what? We got Donax saying, hello, terrific job. We got my man Badru. Good question, Badru. I'm gonna answer that in a second. Yilmaz is asking a question. We'll get to that. All right. Yeah, so we got the questions coming in now. Fast and furious. All right, we're gonna get to them. Keep leaving your questions. TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Let me know what questions you have. But listen, if you want to give yourself the best possible chance of securing your future in America through asylum, we got to talk. What we're doing here on YouTube is great. I love answering your questions. I love giving you knowledge, giving you insights, giving pointers, explaining, teaching, and you can find that on my YouTube channel. Go TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook. Go to Political Asylum Lawyers YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search Political Asylum Lawyers. That's where my best stuff is. All that stuff is great, and it's going to help you. It's going to help you to win your case, I believe. But if you really want to give yourself the best possible chance, there is nothing that compares to actually having an asylum lawyer on your side, okay? If you want to talk with us to see if we think we might be in a position to help you, then I want you to go schedule a consultation right now. Like, don't wait. Don't like, oh, I'll do it after the show, or I'll do it after work. I'll do it. Yeah. Go right now, okay? Our spots are limited. They fill up fast. I think there's a couple spots left this week, but they're filling up fast. You can imagine why people are worried, and people are determined to get help with their asylum case. So our consultation spots are filling up really fast. If you want to get on our calendar, I want you to go right now to winasylum.com. The webpage that I want you to type into your URL, the URL I want you to type in is this. I'm going to put it in the chat. It's WIN. So start from the beginning. WINASYLUM.com. That spells winasylum.com. WINASYLUM.com. That is winasylum.com. That's where you can schedule a free consultation. I said free, and at the time that I'm making this video or doing this live, we're offering free consultations. I don't think that's going to continue. I think we're going to have to start charging. But right now, as I'm making doing this live, it's free. So if you want to take advantage of that, I want you to go make a consultation, schedule it right now, like literally right now. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. All right, let's go to your questions. All right. TikTok. go find me on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search political asylum lawyers, please. All right. We've got first question. I'm going to take this. The stunning says, will affirmative asylee be effective in the Trump administration? By that, what do you mean? Give me a follow-up. Let me know what you mean by that. Do you mean, is it going to be possible to win an affirmative asylum case? Let me address it like this. The question is this: what's going to be the effect of Trump on affirmative asylum cases, right? So we're talking now not necessarily about the people who are in immigration proceedings in immigration court, but rather people who have a case pending with USCIS in an asylum office. How is the second Trump term going to affect those cases? Well, listen, thankfully, not as drastically as it's going to affect immigration court cases, because people that come to the border are usually the ones that go to immigration court, and the policies and the changes that Trump is making is mainly affecting them. However, it will also, if only to a lesser extent, but also it will affect the asylum office. Approval rates are going to decline, both because of actual concrete policies and changes like in interpretations and rules, but also just the general anti-immigrant sentiment and atmosphere that Trump brings with him. It is going to lead to pressure to deny more people, including at the asylum offices. So you got to do better than ever in presenting the strongest case possible. All right. And if you want help with that, you should go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's where you can schedule an asylum strategy session with one of our asylum professionals. All right. We have got Yilmaz says, I'm in the U.S. for more than 3 years. Can I apply for asylum? Good question. The question is this: can you apply for asylum in America if you've already been here for several years, like 3 years? So look, there's a 1-year filing deadline, a rule that says that normally you need to file during your first year in the United States. If you don't, then you'll be barred from asylum. You can't win because of the 1-year filing deadline. However, the good news is there are exceptions to the general rule. There's 2 categories of exceptions. They're called changed circumstances and extraordinary circumstances. Now, this area of the law is complex, but I do want you to know that, yeah, we do often have success with helping people to establish an exception, which means we're often successful in convincing the asylum officer that one of the exceptions applies, such that our client can still win, even though they're applying late outside of 1 year. So you definitely need to work with an asylum lawyer to figure out whether it makes sense to apply, and if so, how to make the strongest arguments possible around this issue. Right. Will the asylum rate decline in the next 4 years? Good, says Mr. Lee. Good question. The question is this: can we expect asylum approval rates to decline under Trump? Yeah, for sure. Look, there's going to be both actual, like, concrete policies that affect asylum approvals, but there's also going to be just a growing anti-immigrant sentiment and atmosphere that will take hold in the asylum offices and in immigration court, and will probably continue to grow with every passing month that Trump is in power. All right. Yeah, it's going to be hard. What does this mean? Well, listen, the good news is if you've been waiting on an asylum interview with USCIS for multiple years, you can sue them. You can sue the government in what's called an asylum delay lawsuit, technically called a Mandamus lawsuit. You can sue them and force them to give you your interview. You want to have your interview and get your decision as soon as possible. The sooner, the better. Okay. If you want to talk about that, we love doing this. Our clients love it. Go to winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com. Again, it's winasylum.com. We want to talk about this. All right. Marianne says, is it better to go to the asylum interview with an interpreter or just English with a advanced level? Good question. This is an important one too. The question is this: should you take an interpreter with you and use an interpreter in your USCIS asylum interview if you speak English pretty well, but maybe not super fluently? Well, look, communication is incredibly important, and I've seen cases lost because of poor communication, because of misunderstandings between the applicant and the asylum officer. And things just tend to go better, go more smoothly in the interview if you use interpretation, if you're not super, super fluent in English. All right. Like if you're pretty good, but you think it would be hard to get through it, or you feel like you can't express yourself really well, then I would definitely use interpretation. I would err on if you're not sure, I would err on the side of yes, using interpretation. Communication is critical. You want to be able to express yourself. You want to be understood. You want to understand. So yeah, then I would recommend using interpretation. All right. Etienne Joe says, my final hearing is in 2 weeks. What advice can you give me? Wish me good luck. I love you and your teaching so much. God bless you. Thank you. Very kind of you. Appreciate that. All right. So the question is this. What can you do to prepare for your final immigration court hearing if it's coming up in just a matter of days or a couple of weeks, or for your asylum interview? Listen, first of all, you need to basically memorize your application materials and any supporting documents you submitted. Like if you submitted a declaration where you sort of explained your case, you got to memorize that, because if you testify at your hearing or interview in a way that is inconsistent with what was in your written materials, that's a way that judges and officers use to deny people. It's like an excuse they use to deny people. Okay. Even though it's usually an honest mistake and the person's not actually lying, you got to memorize your written materials. Okay. You need to practice telling your story, ideally in the context of a practice hearing or practice interview with an asylum lawyer. If not, do it with friends. Okay. Go to my YouTube channel, Political Asylum Lawyers on YouTube, search for Political Asylum Lawyers. Look at my playlist about preparing for an asylum interview. Watch all those videos. Okay. That's what you should do. Even though, listen, even your hearing is in court, right? And my playlist, I think it says asylum interview, like prepare or all about the asylum interview. It's basically the same stuff that applies, the same concepts and theories apply both in the context of an asylum interview and an immigration court individual hearing. You should watch all of those, all my videos on YouTube, basically. All right. All those in that playlist for sure. All right. Look, the best thing to do would be to hire a lawyer. We wouldn't be able to help you with your individual hearing just 2 weeks away. We couldn't take your case. You might be able to find a lawyer who would take it on such short notice. One option, listen, you should definitely prepare fully to do the hearing. But once you get there, you could ask the judge, be like, Judge, I'm talking to some lawyers. I want to hire one. Could we reschedule this hearing, for like a month from now or something to give me time to hire a lawyer? That's one thing, but there's a good chance the judge will say no to that. So you do need to be prepared to go ahead with your hearing. Okay. What will happen if I apply for asylum now after entering the U.S. legally with a visa? Am I going to be deported? Good question. The question is this. What if you entered the United States legally with a visa and now you want to apply for asylum? Can you do that? Or what's going to happen? Is Trump during his second administration just going to straight up deport you when you apply for asylum after coming on a visa? Look, the good news is no, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to let you pursue your asylum claim with USCIS. For all of the ridiculous anti-immigrant stuff that they've already announced, that they've already put into place on day one of Trump's presidency, and all the stuff that they've said they're planning to do still, I've never heard anyone from Trump's team say that they're going to get rid of asylum or start trying to immediately deport asylum seekers. I think that you're okay. I think that you're going to be able to pursue your asylum claim. So if you fear being harmed in your country, you should definitely talk with an asylum lawyer about applying for asylum with USCIS and talk about how to build the strongest case possible. Go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. I want to talk. All right. All right. Will people with a pending asylum case from Syria be deported? Asks Fadi. Let's address it like this. The question is this. What's going to happen under Trump for people with a pending asylum case? Are you going to get deported? Look, the good news is no. I think as of now, I'm quite confident they're going to let you actually pursue your claim, whether your case is pending at the asylum office with USCIS or whether it's in immigration court with an immigration judge. I believe that in both of those contexts, you're okay. You're going to be able to fight your case to the end. They're not going to deport you. They're not just going to decide, hey, we're just going to deport this person or detain you even. Okay. So, look, Trump is already done on day one and is promising to do a lot of hurtful things to immigrants and asylum seekers. They're going after asylum, but I do still have confidence, at least as of now, the time that we're having this discussion, this show, that you're going to be able to pursue your claim without fear of being deported. Okay, so that's good news, right? All right. What about work permits? Ustad Garam says, what about, is it going to affect people with work permits with pending asylum case? Good question. The question is this: what is Trump going to do regarding work permits for asylum seekers? Now, look, last time Trump was in office, he did pretty much everything in his power to try to make life as difficult as possible for immigrants in general, but asylum seekers in particular. They want to inflict a lot of pain in hopes that people will just give up and go home and to dissuade other people from coming here. And one of the ways they could do this is around work permits, right? The ability to work is incredibly important for obvious reasons. And Trump's administration, they could slow down the processing of work permits based on asylum. It'd be harder to just like get rid of them. That's something they don't really have the power to do. They could try and it could be messy, but they could definitely slow it down. Is something that, I am a little bit worried about, to be honest with you. But we're just going to have to see, and we're going to have to fight, and we're going to have to push and keep the faith. All right. All right. Money Nori set 22 says, I have immigration court soon. How can I ask the judge for more time to find a lawyer? Good question. The question is this: at your final hearing in immigration court, your so-called individual hearing, can you ask the judge to reschedule to give you more time to try to find a lawyer? Look, you can ask. Whether the judge will say yes or not is uncertain. It depends on the judge. Like they don't have to agree. There's no rule that tells them they have to agree and give you more time and reschedule. Some of them are sympathetic and they might. Look, there's no harm in asking. There's no harm in saying, look, judge, I've decided I really want a lawyer for my case. I've been trying hard. I've been interviewing them. I've been talking with them and I'm just on the cusp. I'm right about to make a hiring decision and try to hire one. Could I please have a little more time so that I can get this lawyer to help me and give them a little bit of time to prepare my case and prepare me? Can we reschedule this hearing one time, please? There's no risk in asking. They might say yes, but you need to be prepared. In case they say no, you need to prepare for your final hearing as if you're going to explain your case and answer the questions and put on the case that day. Okay? All right. HUD says, can you apply for permanent residence right after your asylum approval? The question is this: when can you apply for permanent residency for a green card after having won asylum? So look, you can apply right away. You can apply the day after you win asylum. You can't actually be granted your green card. In other words, USCIS cannot approve it and send you the green card until you've been in the United States for 1 year after having won asylum. So 1 year after asylum. So why would you apply right after asylum if you can't be approved for at least a year after that to get in queue, to get in the line? Because look, it's taking something like 18 months for USCIS to even get to your application right now, for people who apply right now. So by applying now, you can get in that queue. And then 18 months from now, it'll be your turn to be considered. And they'll say, oh, look, it looks like he applied before he was here for a year. They'll send you a request for evidence to provide evidence that you've been here, physically present here for a year, and then they can approve your application. So I actually do recommend taking this approach. All right. Where did Kasim go? Sleep the Duh says hello from Egypt. Thanks for being with us. Nice. All right. Listen, if you want to talk with us about your case, about your situation, we would love to talk with you. We want to hear what's going on. Listen, first, we need to get to know you a little bit. We want to know about you and your life and your situation, your goals, your immigration goals, your professional goals for the life you want to build here in the United States. And we're going to analyze your situation, your asylum case. We want to understand what's going on, and we want to tell you whether we think we're in a position to help you. If so, we're going to explain to you the concrete steps that we would take in your case to give you the best possible chance of winning your case so that you can secure your future in America through asylum. All right. We do this in the context of an asylum strategy session. This is a consultation with an asylum professional, and you can schedule that right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to call. You can go right now to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's winasylum.com, and schedule an asylum strategy session right now. All right. All right. Oh, good question. Gogi Rurki says on YouTube, please share all the questions the officer can ask in written form. There are 150 plus. There's more than that. There's way more than that. Gogi, check out the chat. I'm going to put in the chat asylum questions training. Asylumquestions.com. Go to asylum questions. Is that what the URL? Asylum. Yeah, asylumquestions.com. Type in your browser asylumquestions.com. I have I think it's like 3 hours, or it's at least 2 hours long. It's a very, very detailed, long training about questions that you're gonna get asked at your asylum interview. Okay, go to asylumquestions.com, and it's more than 150. All right. Let us see what other questions we have. Money Nori 22 says, great job. Thanks for the information. Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it. Marion says, do people who already applied for asylum through USCIS have to wait in Mexico to wait for the asylum case result? That's a very good question. Let me address that. The question is this. Do you have to go to Mexico to wait while your asylum case runs its course in the United States if you've already applied with USCIS? So listen, on January 20th, Trump's first day back in office, he announced that they're reinstating or reintroducing what's called Remain in Mexico policy. And this says that people that come to the southern border and want to apply for asylum have to wait in Mexico while the process unfolds, and they'll get called to come to the border into the United States for hearings on their case. But other than that, they wait in Mexico. And if they win, then they get to come to the United States. That only applies to people coming to the southern border. It does not apply to asylum seekers. So the good news is, for those of you who already applied with USCIS and you're waiting for your asylum interview, you may be wondering, oh, wait, based on what Trump just said, do I have to leave and go to Mexico and wait for my asylum interview? No, it doesn't apply to you. Okay. That's good news for you, right? All right. Monty says, can anything be done to speed up an individual hearing or speed up a hearing in EOIR, meaning immigration court? Our individual hearing got reset to a master hearing based on a request for more evidence in the individual hearing. You should supply the evidence requested, and with it, do a separate motion, like a motion to schedule the individual hearing. And the judge will probably do that. They'll probably look at the evidence, be like, okay, good. They supply what we asked for or what was asked for, and they'll schedule the individual hearing. And then they'll cancel the master calendar hearing and schedule the individual hearing if you provide on paper, they'll probably will, if you provide ahead of time on paper what they asked for, which is to say you don't have to wait and show up and bring it with you on that day of the master calendar hearing. Send it by mail ahead of time. And then send a motion to schedule the individual hearing that says, look, judge, we supplied the evidence in writing, ahead of time. We don't need to come there, therefore, and do anything in person. So please cancel the master calendar hearing and schedule the individual hearing. There's a good chance they'll say yes to that. Okay. The study says, will affirmative asylum seekers be in danger in the Trump administration? Good question. The question is this: is Donald Trump going to try to deport affirmative asylum seekers? Like, if you've got an asylum application pending with USCIS, are you at risk of being picked up, detained, and deported? I don't think so. No. So good news here, right? Look, they want to deport a lot of people, but they're still at least somewhat acting like they're at least somewhat going to respect the process. Okay, they're going to go first after they've said, and I believe them when they say this. They're going to go first after the low hanging fruit, people that are easily deported, like legally speaking, that already have a final order of deportation, or that have committed certain crimes that it's going to be pretty easy to get that final order. They're not going to go after affirmative asylum seekers, at least not for a long time. I don't think they will ever. I think they're going to let you have your case heard, including at the asylum office, and then if you lose, including an immigration court. I don't think you're at risk of being deported. No, not now, not for a long time. I think you're going to have a chance to present your case in the same way that affirmative asylum seekers always have. Okay. All right. Kamran Malik says, can we still apply for an EAD after 150 days after I-589 submission? The question is this. Under Trump, can you still apply for your work permit based on your pending asylum case 150 days after applying for asylum? The answer is, as of right now, so far, yes. All right. Listen, I am concerned that Trump may try to mess with work permits as a way to inflict pain on asylum seekers. But at the time that we're having this show, yeah, I think you're okay. Well, I know that you're okay right now to apply at 150 days, and I strongly encourage you to do so. Don't wait till 180 days. Apply at 150, and hope that there aren't changes that make it, make for massive delays in getting the approvals or changes in policy that can affect your chances of actually getting the work permit. All right, but so far, yeah, still apply at 150 days after the government has accepted your asylum application. All right. All right. VK asks, if your immigration case was closed without prejudice and removal proceedings and ICE picks you up during a raid, do you still have a right to a new immigration hearing and bail? This is tricky. Let's address it like this. The question is this. What happens if your immigration case, your asylum case in immigration court was dismissed? Your court proceedings were dismissed. And then you get picked up in a raid by ICE. Do you just get to say, look, I want to keep pursuing my asylum claim, so let me have a hearing to present my asylum case? Well, not exactly, because you don't have an asylum claim pending anymore. If your case was dismissed from immigration court, your asylum case disappears. Look, if that happens and you get picked up by ICE and you express fear of being harmed in your country, they are supposed to sort of put you through the process again. But it's not like you just get to pick up where you left off, and it's trickier. What you can and should do, in my opinion, is if you fear being harmed in your country and your case was dismissed from immigration court, you should seriously consider applying now with USCIS to have a valid asylum claim pending. I think that's going to be a pretty good chance of protecting you from deportation if you get picked up. The fact that you already have a claim pending with USCIS. Okay. Will there be an impact on asylum for people coming from Pakistan, specifically impacted by religious persecution, says Rayhan. Pakistan. I mean, look, it's not because of Trump. I don't see the Trump factor having a big impact on asylum cases from Pakistan. No. I think we have quite a few Pakistani clients. We've had success with those cases. I still think that a lot of those will be able to still win despite Trump. All right. Herb Sniffle says, is he deporting in every state? Yeah. Well, look, there's going to be people deported from every state by Trump, but they're going to sort of do targeted raids and targeted operations kind of city by city. And they've said they're going to start in Chicago. Is an asylum seeker in the affirmative process at risk of being detained by ICE? Good question. The question is this. Are you at risk of being detained by ICE if you've got an affirmative asylum application pending? So you've applied for asylum with USCIS and you're waiting for your interview. During this waiting time, are you going to get picked up? Is ICE going to come look for you and detain you and possibly deport you? I don't think so. Look, Trump is going hard after immigrants, including trying to make life miserable for asylum seekers. But I don't have any reason to believe, based on what his people have said, that they plan to or are going to start going after people with a pending asylum case. In fact, I actually think that's a good way to avoid problems. It's a good way to give yourself a better chance at not being deported if you do have contact with federal law enforcement. The fact that you have an asylum claim pending. So there's a lot of people that want to apply for asylum because of that reason, right? Which I think you should only do if you truly fear being harmed in your country, okay? Thanks for the question. What about people on parole, TPS? Good question. Yeah, so here's the question. What should you do if you've got valid status in the United States right now through parole that you got either through the CBP-1 application when you entered the country or through the CHNV program? If you've got one of those, parole status, or if you've got temporary protected status, TPS, and you're worried about, what's going to happen in the future with your status under Trump, what should you do? Well, first of all, look, you're right to be concerned because Trump's people have said that they want to get rid of those things. That first of all, they're not going to, for sure, almost certainly not going to extend parole or TPS. They might even try to affirmatively strip it from people, take it away, take the status that you currently have away. And if that happens, if they don't extend or they take it away and you don't have another kind of status or an asylum application pending, then you'll be put in deportation proceedings. Now, if you're afraid of being harmed in your country, you should consider applying for asylum before those things happen, because that can protect you from being and make it so that you're not put in deportation proceedings if you lose that status. Okay. So that's a good reason, that you should seriously consider applying for asylum, assuming that you do in fact fear being harmed in your country. You shouldn't apply for asylum if you don't fear being harmed in your country, but you should talk with an asylum lawyer if you do. Okay. What to expect for a pending asylum who came through B1 visa, says Dimble. Good question. The question is this: what can you expect to happen if you came to the United States on a tourist visa and then you apply for asylum with USCIS? Well, look, most people who have been applying in the last few months have been getting their interviews very quickly, like within 1 to 3 months after applying. So you got to be ready. You got to work with your asylum lawyer to create an outstanding application packet and then to create an outstanding, what we call asylum roadmap, the supporting documents that really explain your case and fight your case for you on paper. And then you got to prepare. You got to be ready to go quick to do those things and also do the preparation, do a practice interview, a mock interview, and a follow-up session, and get ready to present your case because it could go very fast. What about the Trump effect with the new Trump presidency? I don't think it's going to affect processing or really that much about these cases right now. I think over time, the denials are going to go up in the asylum office because of Trump, which means that if your case has been pending for several years, you should push it forward and get an interview now through a Mandamus lawsuit. Okay. Listen, this Mandamus lawsuit is huge. It's a super powerful tool that we've been using to great effect in my office for the last year and a half or so. We've filed well over 100 of these. And listen, before I say this next thing, let me say that past performance does not guarantee future results. Having said that, I want to tell you, we haven't lost one of these cases yet. All right. The asylum delay lawsuit is an extremely powerful tool for getting your interview scheduled, or if you've already had your interview and you're waiting on a decision, you can use it to get your decision as well. Our clients love it because it works. I always get this question. Actually, let's do it like this. The question that I always get, the question is this: will suing the government to force them to give you your asylum interview hurt your underlying asylum case? So look, we're talking about an asylum delay lawsuit, or sometimes called a Mandamus lawsuit, where you sue the government to force them to give you your interview if you've been waiting for multiple years, which is a good idea in most cases. I think the sooner that you have your interview and the sooner you get your decision, the better your chances for success. So, but look, when we talk about this with people, they understandably sometimes very often say, oh, look, Brian, but will that make them mad? Will suing them hurt my underlying asylum case? Will the asylum officer be like, how dare you sue us, or hold it against me and use that to deny me? The answer is no. There's there's three sort of reasons I could talk in detail about as to why I believe that will not hurt your case. But for now, just suffice it to say that, look, we've been doing this a ton lately, and I am highly confident that it is not hurting our clients' chances for success in their underlying asylum case. It just doesn't happen. I am highly confident it won't affect you negatively. So we should talk. All right. If you want to talk about this asylum delay lawsuit that we've been having a ton of success with lately, I want you to go to winasylum.com. That's WINASYLUM.com. WINASYLUM.com. All right. Winasylum.com, where you can schedule a consultation with one of our asylum professionals. We want to talk with you. Okay. Yeah, Vinny, I'm reading your comments about your interview being conducted in English, but they didn't mention, yeah, there was issues with the interpretation. Yeah, while you were in detention. That's tough. That's tough. Be ready to explain that during your court hearing, because they might try to use it against you. They might say, oh, there's inconsistencies with what you're saying now compared to what you said while you were detained. If there was interpretation issues, you need to be ready to talk about those and explain what they were and how it affected your interview. Okay. All right. We got Irbaz Mahmoud says, hey, Brian, I had an asylum strategy session with one of your colleagues, Ricardo. I'm so glad that your firm is able to help me with filing a Mandamus waiting interview for 5 years. Awesome. Irbaz, have we gotten started yet? Have you hired us? I hope so. I'm going to check. I assume that your YouTube handle is your name. It looks like a name, and I'm going to search for you in our system and see if you hired us yet. If you don't tell me here, because I want to know. I hope so, Irbaz. Yeah, Ricardo's great. I'm glad he treated you well. If you've been waiting for 5 years, yeah, high chance for success. High chance for success in getting your interview scheduled through this asylum delay lawsuit that we absolutely love because our clients love it because it works. All right. My friend and client, Badru, I feel okay saying that because he very frequently on these YouTube lives jumps on and says that he was our client and that we helped him to win his case. He sued the government, got his interview scheduled that way, and then he won his asylum case. He asks, do those who already granted asylum, are they in any danger with the new Trump administration? Good question. The question is this. If you've already won asylum in the United States, are you at risk of being deported under this second Trump administration? Look, not too much, I don't think. Look, Trump is going to go after a lot of people. They're definitely not going to start with asylees, people who've won asylum. There is a little bit of risk, though. Look, at the next stage where you apply for your green card, there's always risk. Even under the Biden administration, under Obama, they did at that stage find a lot of people who they tried to say had lied. What they do is they look really closely at all of your immigration materials when you apply for the green card. And sometimes the officer says, oh, there's things you're saying now that don't line up with what was in your asylum case. Therefore, we think you lied about asylum. Therefore, we're sending your case back to the asylum office and they're going to try to take away your asylum status and deport you. It happens. So you got to be careful. You got to do your green card application phase. You got to do it really well and carefully. Okay. But do I think that they're going to just come after you and come find you and be, someone who has asylum and put you in deportation proceedings or detain you? No, I don't think so. It's good news. You're all right, Badru. You'll be all right. Okay. I think you're going to be just fine. Good question. Mongo Cleves Mefion says, will the effort to deport millions of undocumented immigrants delay pending affirmative asylum cases for additional years or speed up the process instead? Good question. I've actually never thought about that. This is going to be top of my mind, spontaneous answer here. The question is this. What can we expect for affirmative asylum case processing timelines under the second Trump administration? And is the fact that the government's going out of its way to try to deport millions of people in mass deportations, is that going to affect the timeline? Is it going to speed up or slow down interviews in affirmative asylum cases at USCIS asylum offices? Look, I don't know. But look, my thinking is this. I do think that cases for most people who apply right now are probably going to go through very quickly under current and existing USCIS policy and the way things have been going for the last few months, I think that's probably going to continue. If you apply right now, there's a good chance you'll get your interview fast within 1 to 3 months. Will that change? Maybe. Will the deportation efforts affect processing times for USCIS? No, I don't think they will. I don't think they'll have an impact on it because it's different people, different teams, different process. Okay? Okay. Good question. Solak says, does it matter how many months after arrival that you apply for asylum as long as it's under 1 year? Very good question. The question is this. Do you need to apply for asylum within a certain amount of months after arriving in the United States, or is it okay as long as you do it during your first year? So the most important thing by far is, definitely do it within your first year. But then the question is, okay, well, is it better or advantageous to maybe apply within some other time frame, some shorter time frame, like your first 3 months, first 6 months? Or, look, should you not apply soon? Some people think that it's a mistake to apply soon. They think that it looks bad if you apply the week after you get here or a few weeks or a month after you get here. I disagree. I think the sooner that you apply, the better it looks in the officer's eyes. I think it looks like you're a serious asylum seeker who came here with the intention of fleeing persecution and seeking asylum rather than just you thought of it the last minute as something to try to be able to stay here. And listen, the sooner you apply for asylum, the sooner you're eligible to get your work permit based on your pending asylum case. So I think sooner the better. And also for purposes of actually winning your case substantively, the sooner you get your interview and decision, the better your chances for asylum success. Okay? Listen, if you're ready to talk about this stuff with us, please go right now to winasylum.com. That URL is winasylum.com. You don't need to call us. Don't wait. You don't need to wait till this live is over or the day is over or whatever. Just go real quick on your phone or your desktop. Type in winasylum.com. Winasylum.com. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. Winasylum.com. Let's talk. Winasylum.com. All right. Alrighty. That was a good question, Soul Act. Thank you. No way we Americans want our country and our jobs back. Thanks for commenting. We've got Sonu1286. I don't know. The question is, pending asylum case, children under 6 U.S. citizens will end their birthright citizenship. In the long run, no, I don't think so. I'm confident that your children will be recognized as U.S. citizens and be able to access the rights and privileges afforded to U.S. citizens, but it might take a little time for that to be the case due to court cases. Okay. Alex says, I was granted 1 year ago. I was arrested 2 or 3 times over unpaid traffic tickets over 10 years ago. During the interview, the judge asked me a lot of questions about the arrest, but he granted me asylum. Am I at risk? Good question. The question is this. What if you had some problems with the law, like maybe some arrests for unpaid traffic tickets a long time ago, but then after that, you were granted asylum? Maybe it was at the asylum office by an asylum officer or an immigration court by an immigration judge. Well, are you the kind of person that is at risk of being arrested and deported by ICE now that the second Trump administration is cracking down with, starting with criminals? Are you at risk? Listen, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that someone who had a few of these fairly minor things a long time ago and then was granted asylum is going to be high on ICE's order list of people they want to try to deport. So honestly, look, you never know for sure, but if I were in your shoes, I would say no, I wouldn't worry about it. I think you're going to be okay in that sense. Okay. Good luck. Okay. Good question. Can I be detained and risk deportation for working illegally while being processed for asylum? No one's asked that question before. Good question. The question is this. Will working without permission while your asylum case is pending in the United States put you at risk of deportation during the second Trump administration? So look, when you apply for asylum, you're eligible to apply for a work permit 150 days after you've applied for asylum, right? But a lot of people end up working before that. They work without permission because they feel like they need to do that to get by, right? Well, the good news is that working without permission will not keep you from getting asylum, all right? It's not something that makes you ineligible for asylum. That's good news. But you do need to be open and honest about it with the asylum officer or with the immigration judge, okay? When they ask about work, you need to include, your work history, including unauthorized work. Is it going to put you at risk of being like picked up by ICE, arrested, and possibly deported while your asylum case is pending? No, I don't think so. I mean, look, if you're caught during a raid, it's a problem. But if you have an asylum case pending, I think that will protect you from any kind of quick deportation. I think they will let you present your case and pursue your claim. Okay, so I wouldn't really worry about it if I were you. We got Jimmy. Jimmy Chancia says, "Great job with this video. You're doing a real service to the immigrant community with this one. Sending you all the best from New York." Thank you. Very kind of you. Falcon Sabori says, "Hey, people from countries like Iran who, because of their nationality, are targeted for profiling, can they be considered national? They can be considered national security concerns. What can they do?" Good question. The question is this: are people from the Middle East, or who look like they're from the Middle East, at greater risk of being detained by ICE and possibly deported as Trump carries out the promised mass deportations of his second term in office? Yeah, probably. Look, there's a lot of racial profiling that goes on, a lot of guessing, and a lot of bad things that happen to people because of how they look. And yeah, there is bias in our immigration system against people from the Middle East, and also from Africa, and also from South Asia. And yeah, a lot of Middle Easterners do get singled out as someone that, the government tends to think is a national security concern. So are you at greater risk of problems? Honestly, probably so. What can you do? Well, if you're afraid of being harmed in your country, talk to an asylum lawyer about asylum, because having that claim pending, I think, might protect you from getting deported quickly. Okay. All right. Can I still apply for asylum? I'm in the USA already, says Munashe. Yeah, you're supposed to apply during your first year, but if you don't, you might still be able to get around that asylum bar due to an exception to the 1-year filing deadline, Munashe. So we should talk. If you fear being harmed in your country and you're thinking about asylum, you should talk to an asylum lawyer. You can schedule a consultation with us at winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. What about Thengiz Shui says, what about asylum seekers who entered the U.S. legally under visitor or student visa? Yeah, I think you're going to be able to pursue your claim. I don't think you have to really worry about getting like picked up, deported. I think they're going to let you present your case at USCIS. If you get a negative decision there and you don't have status, then you're going to probably have a chance to present it again in immigration court. Okay. Cute. Meower says, will LGBT asylum seekers be affected? Look, I think they're going to be affected to the extent that anyone's going to be affected, which is to say it is going to be harder to win asylum under Trump. I don't think they're going to implement formal rules or policies that are going to necessarily directly affect LGBTQ plus asylum seekers, but the overall anti-immigrant sentiment that is going to be pervasive and is going to grow, I think, with every passing month at the asylum office and in immigration court will make it harder to win asylum for everyone. Okay. We got Uger saying, "Hey Brian, how are you? Greetings from Wisconsin." Nice. I didn't live in Wisconsin, but I lived close in Minnesota for a couple of years. I love it up there. I think it's great up there. I love it. Will you get, Uger says, can you get deported because of traffic tickets that you got? Probably not. I wouldn't worry about it. Okay. Nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay, good questions. Good questions. All right. Okay, good question. SDFG says, Mr. Bryan, since asylum result may be negative for us, is it possible to apply for another status like F1 or tourist visa while our asylum application is pending in the asylum office? Good question. The question is this: can you, and if so, should you apply for some kind of immigration status while your asylum application is pending with USCIS? So look, if you think that you might be eligible to get a student visa or some other status based on a family relationship, like a green card based on marriage, should you try and pursue that while your asylum claim is pending? Absolutely, you should. You should pursue any and every type of long-term status that you can get while your asylum claim is pending. And you should not give up your asylum claim, not withdraw it unless and until you get a green card in your hand based on something else. But whether you are eligible to get one of those other things with your asylum case pending is a tricky question. It's something you need to talk about with an immigration lawyer who focuses on the kind of status that you're interested in trying to get. Okay? Because it is a bit complicated. All right. That's it for today. I'm Brian Manning, and I'm an asylum lawyer. My law firm is called Political Asylum Lawyers, and we help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. We want to talk with you. We want to see what's going on and tell you whether we think we're in a position to help you. If you want to do that, go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com. That's where you can schedule a consultation with us, with one of our asylum professionals. Someone commented earlier today, said they had one with Ricardo, and that they want our help with an asylum delay lawsuit to move their stalled asylum case forward. We love helping people do that. We've had a ton of success with that lately. It works. So listen, if you want to talk, go right now. You don't need to call us. You don't need to wait. The easiest, quickest way to do this is go to winasylum.com, WINASYLUM.com, and that's where you can schedule an asylum strategy session with one of our asylum professionals. Do that now. All right? All right. Thank you for being with us on the Asylum Answer Show. With me, I'm Brian Manning. It's a pleasure, as always, to support you in your asylum journey, and I look forward to seeing you again on the